married, been happily married for almost 8 years. In February, it will be 8 years. Wow, that's crazy. So good morning to you all. But it's been a great 8 years, and we look forward to many, many more years, me and my wife, Nikki, and she is the best woman I've ever known, hands down, and she is awesome and amazing, and we have a great marriage and relationship. But let me tell you, it didn't come just, easy or by doing nothing. We had to work at it. And so, any relationship that you're in, that you believe in, it's worth fighting for and it's worth working at. And so congratulations to you, almost 8 years too. So, I want to hit you off with some relationship advice, some relationship nuggets. And so I'm talking to my guys, but, I'm talking to females too. Something that's something that's very key for any relationship to thrive, any romance, any kind of marriage. You got to have good communication. Good morning to you, LaGrange Park. Okay, you're right around the way. You've got to have great communication. Great communication is absolutely necessary. If you don't have good communication, your relationship will fail. I don't hope it fails, but I do hope that you have good communication. I had a friend back when I was in Tulsa. I had a friend, and as he would date different females and everything, he, sometimes things will start to go bad. You ever been in a dating relationship and it starts to go bad? But sometimes things will start to go bad. But every time the relationship started to go bad, he would always end with the explanation that, oh man, that girl crazy. Man, she crazy. I can't be around her. She crazy. And let me tell you, girls, if you don't know this, guy code, guy talk is often when we say like, oh yeah, I can't be around her, she crazy. Well, maybe that might have been true, but a lot of times for guys, that's just the cop-out statement for she released us. she didn't really want anything else to do with the relationship. It just kind of went sideways. And that might not be for every relationship, but let me tell you, for a lot of guys, you have just been released. You don't have to make excuses. Every girl ain't crazy. And so I wanted to make this point. He always said, man, she crazy. She crazy, man. I can't mess with her. But let me tell you, this is what I believe. And my wife endorses it. She will tell you. She endorses it. We think the same way. But I have come to find out that every person, and I'm just going to whittle it down to women. And so a lot of women, I won't say every woman, but a lot of women, now hear me, don't turn me off. A lot of women have a little bit of crazy in them. And this is what I'm going to say. Don't stone me, women. Hold on. I believe that guys can help create the environment or the atmosphere in a relationship to bring the crazy out. I believe, and this is why I said have a little bit of crazy in them, because naturally guys are less emotional than women. Naturally, women are more emotionally heightened. That's just kind of a statement of fact. But because of that, when things start getting chaotic or there's bad communication, or let's say, give you a perfect example. Let's say for a guy, y'all thought y'all were casually dating, but for a girl, you thought you were in a relationship. So now you see, the girl sees this guy in the mall with some other girl, and he's like, what is this? And he's like, I'm just hanging out. What are you talking about? And she's thinking, hey, we were in a relationship. And he's thinking, nah, we never made it official. I don't know what you're talking about. And so now she just starts going in. She starts going off on him. And then he walks away and be like, man, she crazy. I don't know what she was thinking. This is the problem. Bad communication because of misunderstood expectations. And so that guy, because of bad communication, he created the environment or the atmosphere in order for her to go off, in order for her to get emotionally heightened. And then as a guy, we walk away saying, man, she crazy. And it was always the same scenario with my friend, that he always created this environment to get their emotions heightened and then just kind of ditched the relationship or just kind of distanced himself from the relationship with no communication, with no warning, no insight, no understanding on, hey, as a guy, this is how I'm feeling towards you. None of that. Just kind of started distancing himself, and then he would get caught up with some other situation, and then the girl would go off. And it looks like she's crazy, but all she's saying is, why couldn't you have communicated the way you're feeling and what you're thinking? And so I believe that a lack of closure, really, seriously, and invite your people out to the Scope if you haven't already, Facebook, Twitter, invite your people out. Let me tell you, I believe a lack of closure creates an unstable environment for any girl to potentially go a little crazy, for any woman to potentially go a little crazy. And I don't think that's all women, but because of the emotions are heightened, when you have a lack of closure in any kind of situation, you know, maybe one person's feeling this way, the other person's feeling that way. When you have a lack of closure and you start to go a different way, then you create an unstable environment. So I believe that what you got to do, especially guys, listen, please listen. Women want communication. Listening is loving. Say it with me. Listening is loving. When you are listening to a woman, that communicates that I am loving you. Listening, not looking at your phone, listening, not looking at the TV, but when you are doing the action of listening, meaning that I am focused on you, my attention is on you, I have eye contact with you, that is true communication. And all a woman wants to do is feel heard. I mean, you know, and even for guys, you know, we like to feel heard too. But I believe when you listen and then implement what they say and what you heard them say, they will feel listened to. You know, I know when my wife, you know, sometimes she'll throw out something and sometimes she'll think I wasn't listening all the way, but I might repeat back what she said. I might say what she said to somebody else. I might act on what she said. I might go out and buy her something based on something that she said, and she didn't even realize that I was listening to her. But it makes her feel so loved, so heard, so understood that that she knows that I was listening and that I heard her and that I acted on what I heard. And so I believe that, you know, as the Bible says, it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 that love does not seek its own. It seeks to understand first. And I believe to have any thriving relationship, this is the key. Okay, you ready? Lean in. This is the key. To have any thriving relationship, you have to seek to understand the other person more than you want to be understood. Did you catch that? You got to seek to understand your mate more than you want to be understood by your mate. And so that's listening and that's learning. And so there's even a positive and a good way to argue. I don't like the word argue, but to disagree. How do you have peaceful disagreements? Well, the way you have peaceful disagreements is that you seek to listen and hear first. You know, at the at Living Word, at the church that we're at, we have the Marriage and Family Institute, and me and my wife, we help give spiritual guidance to couples, and we also have different seminars in which we come together and we're they call us coaches to help the couples that come in. And so what happens is we explain to them something that's called the PrEP method. And basically the PrEP method, all it is organizing a way for your mate to talk and then for you to understand what they're saying. And then after you understand them fully, then you get the floor and you get to talk and they understand. And it's really simple. It is literally like, I'm saying something to you for 15 seconds, and then you take 3 seconds to repeat back to me what I said, to paraphrase, to make sure to understand that, hey, you understood exactly what I'm saying. And it might seem extremely simple. I mean, something that you would have kids do. But let me tell you, it's so effective. And there are so many bright smiles that come on people's faces when they're like, yeah, you get it. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And a lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements come simply because we are thinking about getting out our own point before we're listening and learning from our spouse and from our mate. And so it comes down to communication. You got to learn from your mate. You got to let them teach you. You don't know everything, especially us guys. You know, sometimes us guys, we think we know it all. But even me, I have to make sure to check myself all the time. I don't know it all, and I don't even know the best way of doing everything. So I need to make sure that I'm listening to my wife, and I make sure that I am learning from her, because she can teach me things. Let me tell you, you know, the woman that God gives you, it's a brilliant woman right there. My wife, she's a brilliant woman, and she knows how to hear the voice of God, and she knows how to be successful in this life. And I believe that I can learn from her. And so I put myself in a position of humility so I can learn from her, I can hear from her. Because if I'm prideful, my pride will block my hearing. And I'll say, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'll discount her in the first 5 seconds before I even listen to what she's saying, if I let my pride speak for me. And so I believe that communication is so key. You can often tell a girl, or how a girl wants to be communicated to by how she communicates. I believe that you can often tell how a woman likes to be loved and appreciated by watching her and by observing how she communicates and how she communicates love and appreciation. I'll give you an example. There are some women who love compliments, and we call them words of affirmation. And so you can often watch how what their tendencies are by watching how they interact with those who are close to them, those who love them. And so they may be very complimentary type people. Well, let me tell you, if you got a woman who compliments a lot, then chances are she loves to be complimented as well. And she'd really respect and appreciate that kind of love and that kind of communication back. And so I believe that listening to, understanding, and learning from your mate doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. And so guys out there, even girls, when you listen to your mate, when you learn from them, when you seek to understand them, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. And there's nothing weak about trying to listen to your mate, trying to serve your mate, trying to understand your mate, trying to be considerate of your mate. A lot of guys, I know sometimes media kind of tries to make it seem like guys, they gotta I don't like to use the word macho. I don't even know if they use that word anymore. But, they got to look like the man because, they got their woman in check and everything. That's not what it's about. Let me tell you, I have a great marriage, and it's not about having my woman in check. There's never been a time where I say, yeah, I got my woman in check. She does what I say. No, not at all. But in the same respect, a lot of you all who know my wife know that she will sing my praises quickly. She is always quick to talk so highly of me to others. And that's not me trying to get her to say something. That's not me trying to get her endorsement or always telling her, hey, now represent me right, represent me right. No, I just treat her good, and she sees the fruit of what's happening. She loves how she is being treated. She loves how I love God and how I love God through loving her. And so she respects it, and I don't have to try to treat her like I got her or like she's under me, or I don't have to treat her like, she does what I say. I don't have to do any of that. When you act in a way as a guy that's respectable, your woman will respect you. That's good. You should tweet that. When you act in a way that is respectable, your woman will respect you. And so, I believe it goes hand in hand. I believe that women should respect men as well. Respect is a two-way street, but communication is the most important part. Communication really helps any relationship, any marriage, even friendships. It's going to be communication. Let me ask you, have you ever been in a relationship that you all didn't communicate at all? And if you have been in a relationship that you didn't communicate at all, you know that relationship starts to go downhill. Why? Because the communication isn't there. Well, let me tell you, bad communication can be just as bad as no communication. They can start to run hand in hand. And the worst thing about bad communication is, at least when you're not saying anything, then, it's kind of left up to nothing. But when you're saying bad communication, when you're tearing down your mate or, tearing down that other person, and you're saying words that could be abusive, yeah, it damages you. It can damage somebody. It can hurt their heart. I'm always a big believer in that words are so important, because words can be forgiven, but they can never be taken back. Once they're released out into the atmosphere, into the ears of the hearer, they are now out there forever. And it's upon them to really try to forgive and forget and release you from those things. And so I believe that communication is one of the best things that you can have. I have a book recommendation right here. I am not receiving royalties off this. This is called Now You're Speaking My Language. And it's honest communication for a deeper intimacy, for a stronger marriage. So check this out. You actually can screenshot this if you need to. And check this out. It's a great book. It's by Gary Chapman. He wrote the 5 Love Languages. And that's a great book as well. And so check that book out as well. And let me tell you, if you need better communication in your relationship, or you don't even have a relationship, but maybe you're just preparing yourself so that you won't abuse that relationship when you get that good relationship, get that good man or that good woman, check it out. These are great books. Gary Chapman, he has the 5 Love Languages, and then this book as well. Please check it out, because it will help you be so much more prepared to have a great and thriving relationship when you get in one, or to have a better relationship if you're already in a relationship or a marriage. So check it out again. Now You're Speaking My Language. It's a great book. It teaches you on really how to have a great relationship. And so one of the quotes he says is, "Peace at any price carries a high price tag." That's good. Peace at any price carries a high price tag. And so there's a high price tag to peace, and you gotta really want it. And so you gotta want a great relationship. You gotta really strive for it. You gotta push for it. You gotta work at it. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship because there's no such thing as perfect people. But I believe that as we honor God, as we listen to our spouse, as we listen to our mate, as we love them, as we communicate with them, as we seek to understand them, as we put them before ourselves, that's the key. That you're on the pathway to a great relationship, to a great marriage, and I believe that it will thrive because of your willingness to put them first above yourself, above being heard or above being understood. You put their understanding and hearing their feelings, their thoughts first, and you'll be on your way.